Well, let's call that good for now.
Okay. So now we have to pay attention to District 15, District 22. Need to both make up some population. District 15 is shy 54,921 people. District 22 is 102,000 people shy.
Okay, well, the west boundary of 15 now can move over to this line, I-17.
Okay.
And I got it up to just grab Anthem. It does split New River, but it puts Anthem and Cave Creek Carefree together. I think it's pretty lightly populated up here. So yeah, let's just add up to Anthem. There's a little carve out down here and looks like this track line here up to the border there. I think that'll get us pretty close.
Does it include the rest of Phoenix?
No. It follows I-17.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll accept that, and then I'll remove the chunk that goes across I-17. That adds about 52,000 people. I accept that. I just have to close this for 1 second. And verify the plan hopefully very quickly, just to make sure. So it won't let me select that census block. Okay, District 15 is now populated at 211,000 as a deviation of 2,053 or 0.96 under, 0.96 under.
And maybe grab these tracks.
Okay.
Help that out a little bit.
That adds about 4,000, so I would put it a little over. If you do that, that adds about 6,000, so it would be overpopulated by 4,500 people. Is that what you? Should I accept that?
Wait, what percent over?
That would put us at
Too much.
2.12% over.
Okay. Okay. So maybe let's go back down to the Sun City District 21. Fix that. Okay, so what the population deviation on 21 now?
21 is 82,000 people overpopulated. Almost 83,000.
Okay, so I cut it off at the top here, right at the line that divides the north boundary of Sun City.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then take these two out and this one out, these blocks as well. So it stair steps down, follows Sun City boundary.
Okay. And this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, then okay, then it follows the freeway up to Union Hills, which I think is this line here.
Okay.
So this.
Sorry.
I think Union Hills is south of the freeway.
Is it north or south of Bell? Do you know?
It's south of the 101 out there.
Okay.
It's
All right,
north,
there it is.
north of Bell.
Okay. That
Right.
would give you the 82,000 that it's missing.
Okay, that balance. That okay. I mean, all these can be massaged, but I was just trying to get the population in. So go ahead and do that one. Okay. So now what does our 22 look like?
District 22 needs to make up 80,000 people, 79,448.
Okay, then put the rest of Surprise, Sun City West in there, and Wickenburg, on out to Wickenburg.
How far west did it go? I don't want to use census tracts in Wickenburg. Okay. I'm going to accept that for a second, and then I'll remove that part. So that adds 94,000 people in. Well, this has a part of Surprise and part of Wickenburg. Grab all of them.
Can you just grab the census place?
Yeah, I'm doing that now to clean it up. Okay. At this point, District 22 is overpopulated by about 5,084 people.
Okay, well, no doubt fine-tuning in order, but now I'd be interested to know what's left, what population is left for us to
Okay.
at least take a first run.
All right, so in districts 14, 13, 5 and 6, starting with, I guess, 5. 5 has 205,000 people, 984. 6 has 91,101. 13 has 179,967. And 14 has 126,548. The unassigned areas is 262,224.
Which my quick and dirty math is 4.06 districts. So not, maybe we can do it.
Okay. So, but mine also relatively quick math. That means that the 4 districts, if they were all filled evenly, would have 216,456 people, meaning they would all be 3,389 people overpopulated, meaning they would be about 1.59% above ideal district size. And there's also very likely to be some other issues we're going to have to figure out once we get to the end with non-contiguous districts and things like that. So,
Are you able to get an assessment of what's out there in the map that's non-contiguous or unassigned that we might not know about?
I mean, maybe the best thing would be if we just went through and cleaned up all the non-contiguous areas right now, so that we had a cleaner plan to start with. There is a list of them. That's pretty long, but we can go through this relatively quickly, I think. So we won't deal with districts that we haven't touched yet, so 5 and 14, stuff like that. But just starting at the top, District 11 has a non-contiguous area here surrounded by 8. I mean, the vast majority of these, I believe, will be 0 population areas, so nobody lives there. I can do this during a break if you guys wanted to take a break.
You know what might help me is once we get it cleaned up, I might benefit from having it on my machine just
Okay.
as a starting point.
I would too, actually.
Okay.
Do you guys want to take a quick break while he's doing that cleanup?
I would.
Okay. It's 2:32 p.m. and we'll take a 10-minute recess. Okay, recess is over. We'll enter back into public session. The time is 3:01 p.m. Oh, our mapping consultant isn't here, though. It's kind of a key player. Did anyone have anything they'd like to say about anything?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Herrera?
the only thing that I'd like to say, and I think we're going to be getting to that eventually, is the issue of competitiveness. Right now, the way the maps look, based on the information that Mr. Desmond gave us, there's not many competitive districts. So I hope that eventually we'll be getting to that, because I think we can, obviously that's one of the 6 criteria, so I want to make sure that we get to that.
Yep, we'll ensure that's balanced and weighed equally with the other criteria. Yay.
And Madam Chair, on that
So great.
point, I mean, I think to some extent they started this process where we built the districts, starting with the voting rights districts and moving from there. And I think Commissioners McNulty and Freeman have been working off to some extent as a starting place their options that they developed that included competitiveness scales. So I think some of that's been going, but I agree with Commissioner Herrera. The more that we do need to accommodate that goal before a draft map's approved.
And Madam Chair,
Mr. Freeman?
indeed, in developing the legislative map that I developed, which was known as Option 1, competitiveness was a factor, and I know there's different ways of looking at that, but there were a number of districts that I deemed that would be considered competitive, and also in building in those districts, I was looking at trying to keep communities of interest together and the other constitutional criteria as well, respecting, minimizing splits, and that Option 1 draft had very few splits. What happened in that, as we further refined the voting rights districts, obviously that had an impact on my map, so really I've been sort of reconstructing, with the help of the other commissioners, parts of Maricopa County. I did draw upon my map, on Commissioner McNulty's map, and I know she took a similar approach in terms of keeping communities together and looking at competitiveness as well. So all those factors we tried to consider, and certainly when we further complete the map and then further refine it, I think probably all of us will have more to say on the constitutional criteria.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to echo those comments. When I prepared the draft that I prepared, which we've come to call version 2, I spent a great deal of time building it based on communities, about municipal and county boundaries, took competitiveness very heavily into account in putting together that map. It was really a compilation, a map that resulted from a study and consideration of all 6 constitutional criteria. And what we've done in the last 3 or 4 days is try to merge together the 2 maps, taking into account the work that I had done and the work that Mr. Freeman had done to come up with, and the work that all of us have done here together this week to come up with a final product that we can use as a very final product, meaning a very preliminary draft that we can then look at more closely. And when we do that, I'm sure one of the things I'll be looking at also is competitiveness and how we can enhance that.
Okay. Were you able to clean up the non-contiguous areas, Mr. Desmond? Excellent. That
So,
list is shorter now?
yeah, so now if we look, we have, I believe, only 2 non-contiguous areas, District 6 in one chunk and District 6 in another, but it's surrounded by unassigned areas at the time, so there are 2 remnants from the grid, but everything else is good. So at this point, I think we have 2 options. That we can try to set in on the last 4 districts, or there are a few districts that I think we might want to look at first, just to improve a few other population imbalances. Specifically, District 16 is 9,100 people underpopulated. That's 4.3%, so I think it might be worthwhile to try to bring that up a little bit if we could before signing other areas. The next The next district that's farthest off would be District 23, is 6,375 people underpopulated, or 2.99%. You know, it is only 3%, but that might be something you want to consider at this point. So.
Sure, maybe we should pull up 16 if you all agree.
All right, so District 16, this is kind of where we left off yesterday, is the district in eastern Mesa that includes parts of Apache Junction and Gold Canyon. So again, it currently has 203,896 people. I think part of the reason that we left it where it was is because there is some assumption that in the next 10 years this district will grow at probably a faster rate than many other areas of the state, so that it is all right to leave it a little underpopulated. Additionally, District 8 being part of Pinal County with a higher prison population, we thought it might make sense to leave some of those a little overpopulated, with the understanding that a larger percentage than other areas is going to be comprised of prisoners. That's just to remind you what the situation is. Feel free to do with that as you please. I just noticed this one area, there's a little chunk here that's unassigned. I'm just going to add that to 24 if that's okay.
Yes. Are there people in it?
Unassigned areas don't show up on the contiguity report, so we might find a few more areas like this. It is only 4 people, not a major discrepancy, but one less thing to worry about later.
Did we conclude there was no one in the unincorporated area south of 16 and north of Santan Valley that could be pulled into 16?
I don't recall if we looked at that or not.
Looks like there are a couple of subdivisions. They're probably part of Santan Valley.
All right, so that's only 60 people, but there is this area right here that has some population. That would add.
Those look like housing lots.
Something like this would add about 1,500 people. Not enough to solve the problem, but it would certainly make it better. Also, just going west, looking at the doesn't really. So that red selection gets you 1,539 people. It does not go into Santan Valley. It's possible you could also dip, alongside this portion of Santan Valley. Pick up a few more people.
So if we did that, what would the population deviation be in terms of percent? Would that bring it under 3%?
No, it would bring it under 4. It would be 7,625 people, or 3.58% underpopulated. You know, again, also looking at some of the other districts surrounding District 16, District 12 is overpopulated by 3,600 people. District 25 is also underpopulated by quite a bit, 8,427. So this would make District 25 the worst district as far as population deviation, or the farthest from.
So if 12's going to give up anything, it's going to be to 25 probably.
Probably would make more sense, especially since I believe these areas of Apache Junction and Gold Canyon, we've heard, are likely to grow. I mean, the other option would be to take a small portion of Santan Valley and then give a small portion of the Mesa section of 16 to 25, and that would improve both 16 and 25. Again, though, then you're taking some from 8, and 8 would need to make up that population somewhere else. So currently 8 is the entire eastern portion of Pinal County, although there is that one section that's left. I think that's an effort to try to keep the copper mining areas together. I could be mistaken about that, though.
I think we should finish the map before we do this. I think we could spend the afternoon trying to balance this population and then find out we need to balance other things.
Okay.
Just my perspective.
Any other thoughts?
Well, where's a good place to start? Should we start southwest Arizona and work up around?
That makes sense. As I looked at this, what I see left is kind of a river district, kind of a Yavapai, largely Yavapai County district, kind of a far west valley district, and then a forest, the forest. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
We'll start down in Yuma County.
Okay, so the area of Yuma County and La Paz County that's left is unassigned right now. District 5 to its north needs to make up roughly 7,000 people. District 14 to its east needs to make up 86,000 people. I guess what I would recommend doing is making the La Paz Yuma portion 14, making that part of 14 that's in Maricopa, and Yavapai County unassigned. So you could adjust the lines that way.
We would still have to contend with 13.
Also, yes. Thank you. 13 also is farther in there. Are there any, maybe it'd be helpful if I just told you the population of that unassigned area to start with. One second. Okay, that is 83,784 people. 747. I cannot talk today. 83747.
I guess one question is whether it makes more sense for North Yuma to tie into in with Maricopa County, and then keep La Paz and Mojave counties along the river together.
We think La Paz and the remnant of Mojave County just about make a district.
Should we look at that?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, this is another example of these chunks right here are reservation lands. That would be separate from the LPI. Okay, so all of La Paz and the remainder of Mojave County equals 208,495 people. It might be a few more because there are some little pockets there in those reservations where there could be some small population. And once that's added in, that would add a few more. If you want, I'll just do that. Is this something I should start building?
Yeah, I'd go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay.
We probably should keep in mind we don't want to be short
Yeah.
on these districts.
So I'm going to, as a first step, unassign all of District 5 so that this can become District 5. Unless, of course, you'd rather have this be called District 14 or 13. But I think this section, it's mostly comprised of Grid 5, so it makes sense to just keep adjusting it as Grid 5. And this unassigning is just kind of procedural. Okay, District 5 now has a population of 208,536 people. It is short 4,531 people. Again, using the balance of what's left, all the districts need to be about 3,000 overpopulated in order to spread that out. Or some of the districts that have already been created need to pick up a little bit more population so that we can leave these districts closer to the ideal value or a little under. Should we start building districts 13 or 14 using the remainder of Yuma and see where that leaves us?
What's the approximately the population in and around 13, the metro, unassigned metro population?
Well, so the unassigned area of Maricopa, or there is no unassigned, I don't think, in Maricopa County.
By that I mean what we haven't worked on yet, the area
Oh,
in 13 and in 14 around 13.
let me check. All right, District 14 has 14,665 people in Maricopa County. District 13 has 179,967.
And what's the population of the balance of Yuma County and the portions of Maricopa County that are outside the metro areas we just looked at?
So what's in Gila County basically, and what's in?
Yeah, all those, the agricultural areas in the western part of Maricopa.
I think she said Yuma.
You?
The balance of Yuma County
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought
And
I
the
thought I heard
agricult-
Gila, that's fine. Okay, Yuma County has 63,258 people left. Gila County has, did you want, yeah, okay.
What I was trying to get a sense of was the balance of Maricopa County outside of the metro areas.
So outside of,
Kind of everything west of 13 and north of 4 and south of 14.
so that selection right there is 4,413 people. If you add this other chunk, that is 5,915 people. At that little piece of 13, it goes up to 8,406 people. Although it looks like a small portion of that would come from 4. So it would, but it's 0 populations.
And what do we have in Yavapai County?
We basically have all of Yavapai County except for that small portion of Peoria.
And what's the population?
Right, Yavapai has a population of 211,033. The portion of it that you have in District 22 is 7 people. So. Let me just double check something too. I want to make sure I've been giving you the correct information. Okay.
So it looks like we may need to take what we have left of Yuma and build it into Maricopa and build in some of the areas in or around 13. Oh, and work on that.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay. And so we'll be incorporating areas by 13. I'm going to unassign those areas so that we can strong and adjusting the grid. That's running right back here. Okay, so starting with Yuma County, that would add 63,258 people to District 13. Should I start growing it towards the old 13? All right. So that would add 4,413 people. So District 13 now has a population 67,671. Should we go in and grab everything up into the border of 21 and 29? Or do you want to go north or?
Well, I think we want to stay out of Goodyear and in the more agricultural or formerly agricultural areas, if we can.
Then the issue then is
Or-
that
yeah.
14 would have to go into Goodyear, and that would go.
Right, okay,
That's putting that with
Yeah.
the areas farther to the north.
okay, all right.
So.
And another problem I see with 5 is that it has a deficit of about 4,500 people, and there's no real good place to populate it without being, well, there's no good place.
Yeah.
I've been
Nothing
looking
around
at various options, and I don't like what I'm seeing, so.
One thing, I'm not exactly sure how big the area is of the kind of the copper areas of Gila County there. I mean, maybe you could populate District 8 a lot higher, so go past the county line even, and then bring some of that in. That allows you to leave some of these rural districts a little underpopulated, and allows you to keep whole counties maximized. Again, we can deal with that later, but I see what you're saying about District 5, there not being any population centers anywhere near those. All the population there is on the border to the west, so when you have to build east, it's tougher.
What's the population of northwest Mojave County over to Colorado City?
Which one is, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Colorado City.
If you go,
Okay, right there.
you got it.
It's about 10,500 people.
We don't have any Indian reservations in that selection.
No. Although District 7 is already underpopulated by 2,700 people. That would be coming from District 7.
Okay. Well, let's hold that thought. I wonder if it would be helpful just to recap the population we have in our different regions that we haven't assigned yet. The whole Coconino area, the Gila County area.
Okay. Why don't we do that by county then, I guess?
Okay.
So if we look at each county, and I'll tell you what portions of the population are going to everywhere. So to do that, let me just clear this off a little bit, make it a little easier to see. Okay, so starting with, I guess, Mojave County. Okay, there is currently 14,000. Scratch that. 198,175 people. No, I'm sorry. I am really. In District 5, there is 188,047. In District 7, there is 12,139. Continuing on to Coconino County. All right, in District 7 is 43,210. In, I guess, 6 and unassigned are roughly the same. So that would be 91,211.
That's the total of both.
That's the total of both. In Navajo, in District 7, there is 63,264. In the unassigned area, there is 44,185. I believe Apache County is wholly contained in District 7, so we probably don't need to worry about that. In Gila County, District 7 has 6,966 people. The unassigned portion is 46,631. In Yavapai, just one second. In Yavapai County, District 7 is in Yavapai County, although it's 0 people. The only other district that we've looked at, that we have placeholder for, is District 22, and that little portion of Peoria that goes north into Yavapai is 7 people. 7. So basically, Yavapai is 211,026 unassigned in Districts 14 or District 6 that are grid districts that need to be adjusted. Is that helpful?
It will be. Might be break time.
Arizona should consider electing its state legislature at large.
Another option would be to move north from Yuma along the river and just get as many communities as you can. It looks like, from my quick and dirty look, you can go all the way up to Bullhead City and get the Golden Valley next to Kingman, but you don't, Kingman puts you over if you tried to get Kingman. So the question would be, you know, what happens to the rest of Mojave County? Where does it fit?
Well, you know, just building District 13 as it's currently constituted, going into the portions of Maricopa County, would it be helpful just to see what it would take to fully populate that?
We don't have, let's see, had you just given us the numbers for Maricopa?
I can give you those
Why
again.
don't you give those to us again, so we have a full list here of everything that,
That sounds good. It's
we're
just
working
gonna
with.
take a minute for it to
okay.
generate, so keep that in mind. All right, so Maricopa, and the districts that we're concerned about right now, District 13 has 4,413 people. The unassigned area is 179,967. In District 14 is 10,252 people.
Thank you. the numbers you just gave us don't include 5. Is that right?
None of those numbers include 5.
Okay.
Well, I think the Mojave County had 5, but
So the portions of Maricopa County that are either unassigned in 13 or 14 are within 20,000 people of a district, basically. Am I right there?
I think, yeah, about 194,000 people. Is that what you're showing? To keep 5 the way it is, though, you need to link the population of 13 somewhere. So, I mean, maybe it'd be helpful to think about where you want to split counties. Is it better to split Maricopa once, try to keep everything else as whole as possible, or is it better to, start in Maricopa and work your way out for the last 4? Both are options. It's just that they're 2 separate approaches, and you kind of have to take one or the other.
If we put Coconino, Navajo, Gila, and part of Yavapai into one district, I think that would make a district. We just see what that would add up to.
Sure.
We'd want to take Sedona, some of the Verde Valley area, put it with Flagstaff.
The other number you don't have also is there's that portion in Pinal County. That's,
Would you give that to us?
yeah, let me.
Because we would want those communities to be together with the Gila County communities. Those are the copper towns.
Yeah. So that slice of Pinal is 6,390. Okay, so this, actually, this is not perfect because it does dip into 7, which I wouldn't do on the actual thing. But just to give you an indication of what that district would look like, taking the parts of Coconino, Navajo, Gila, and Pinal counties that are left over and putting them together, it's 189,930 people.
Do we have Sedona and Yavapai County?
No, we haven't done that yet. Let's look and do that.
So let's go down into Yavapai County and pull in the Verde Valley and the Sedona areas.
Okay.
At Oak Creek, and maybe. Let's take Cornville, Lake Montezuma.
Something like that would be 215,638.
Can you zoom in this area, please?
Just 1 second, changing microphones. All right, so the portion that this selection grabs is Sedona, Oak Creek, Lake Montezuma, Cornville, and it looks like a little portion of Verdeville. And some of Camp Verde. And also, yeah, that's the where it dips into Yavapai. If this is something you'd like me to do, I'll start over so as not to grab any parts of 7. That just happened because taking it the whole census tract there.
So it intrudes into Yavapai County where? Just in the Sedona area?
Again, Yavapai County right here, including the communities of Sedona, Oak Creek, Lake Montezuma, Cornville, parts of Camp Verde, and parts of Cottonwood.
I'd be curious to know if the remainder, what the population of the remainder of Yavapai County was and what the deficit would be?
I believe this is just, I think it was, we needed to make up about 25,000 people.
And so now we've taken a little bit more out of Yavapai County.
Now Yavapai County was at like 211,000, so it'd probably need to make up about 27, 28,000.
Can you run our index 2 on that selection?
Yes, I have to make it a new district to do that.
Okay, we can do that later.
Well, actually,
That's all right. We can do that later. Is there any way to kind of save it but set it aside, so we can just see what that would leave us with
what I could do is
without actually?
create a version of it. I mean, like, do it, accept the change, then create a new version of an older file. So again, we can go back to any point. So, so yes.
So the alternative with regard to the Gila County and Pinal County areas would be to pull them into either 12 or 23 and kind of work our way, do the same exercise we did this morning, work our way around to the west side.
Well, Gila County and Pinal County I don't know. I'm not sure if you can pull them in. District 12. Which district is that?
Yeah, I think we can't because we run into the majority-minority district. So
Yeah.
we couldn't go that way.
Yeah. I mean, what you could possibly do is, I mean, if it's helpful, we could look and see what the areas of southern Gila County, how much population there is there.
I think we did that. It's about 46,000 people. And then when you add the Pinal County, it's a little over 50. So maybe, what do you think? Should we accept this and see if we can work around this?
Okay. Just going back, what was the population of the Copper Corridor communities put together?
Let me cancel this because I wouldn't want to accept this one with those
Sure.
changes to 7.
Here's what
I can
you
redo it in a second.
was Gila, assigned, and then Pinal.
I mean, is the Copper Corridor all of Gila County or just portions of southern? I guess that's my question.
Well, it's,
Well, I guess I would consider it sort of southern Gila County, which would be Globe, Miami, and then south of there, and then picking up the communities that fall over in Pinal County. So that's sort of that chunk. So there's roughly 6,000 or 7,000 from Pinal County, but I guess really the question is, what's the population of Globe and Miami?
Okay, this is, again, just a rough selection. That population right there.
Stuff into the Southeast Valley.
That's roughly 25,000 people. And that includes Wheatfields, Copper Hill, Globe, 6 Shooter Canyon, Central Heights, Midland City, and then the portions of Pinell County. Superior, top of the world. Kearney. It does include Roosevelt. I don't know, that we might be able to trim this northern border a little bit to remove some people if that's too many, or obviously grow it north. It's not enough for
What's the population of Gila County north of Globe?
So using that same border. Okay, that's about 27,157. And, you know, we're just using the census block border that goes in there, so there's probably some tweaking around the edges, but I doubt it's more than a few hundred people.
Just,
I'm going to try and pull it in the East Valley.
well, it looks like if we got a couple of pretty underpopulated districts in the Southeast Valley, and if we assumed we would overpopulate them all by a hair, I hadn't finished, but we could put 30,000 more people in there. What was the figure for Globe, Miami, and parts south in the Copper Corridor again?
I think that was roughly 25,000 people.
Oh, well, it could be done.
And then, again, District 16 and 25 are the two underpopulated ones. If you're just looking at those, 16 is 9,100 people underpopulated. 25 is 8,400 people underpopulated. It's about 17,500 to get to ideal. And also, as we mentioned before, District 8 and 11, it's probably safe to make those a little bigger than necessary, although they already are a little bigger than necessary.
Before we undertake that, I think I'd like to run Index 2 on it the way that we had it configured. What I want to be careful of is that everyone from Flagstaff has told us they want a competitive district. I want to make sure that's what we wind up with.
So Index 2 on the, let me see if I can do it on one
If you select back in those areas of Gila County, the way we originally had it.
Okay, I think I can do that. Let me. Okay, I'm not going to be able to show you index 2 for like the red areas. We could, do it by creating a district, and then it is available on the data table right here. So we do have index 2 available to you. It's just not for a pending selection, only for once a selection has been made, if that makes sense. So if you wanted to, I guess, create a new district with those areas north of Globe and going up, and you could show me where else you wanted to select from. We could look at the index 2 of that. Is that?
Yeah, I want to look at the index 2 of what we originally configured so that we can compare it to what we're about to do.
Okay, so you want to look at taking all of Gila County, the remaining portion of Pinal,
Yep.
all of Coconino. Okay, let's do that. District 31 is back. Okay, so 31 again, needs to make up from Yavapai County about 24,000 people. Let's go through and do that. All right, starting with the whole census places of Sedona. Cornville, Oak Creek, like Montezuma. That would add in 13,596 people. Now selecting the block groups around those areas. Again, this cuts off a little chunk of Camp Verde right there. That adds about another. Alright, so now district. If we took this unassigned corner, let me see what that does.
Verde Village. That whole area there.
All right, so right now it needs 1,200 going into the Verde Village. I'll see what that census place is. That adds about 6,000. That's a little too much. We can take a portion of it.
Yeah, I think we want to take in that whole area there. That's what we had done earlier.
Right now, we're almost to the ideal district size. That'll add too many people, I think. I could do it both ways, but if you add Verde Village, you're going to be, and if you had, like that would add 11,000 people. Is that something you want me to do? We could shed that population somewhere else potentially. I can tell you.
Well, let's run it at close to the ideal population, because then the other view is going to be backing Globe and Miami out, in which case we'll need to pull more of those communities from the Verde Valley in.
That makes sense. All right. So looking at index 2, district 31. Sorry. Okay, this district 31, as it's currently drawn, has an index to Republican percentage of 54.32 and index to Democratic percentage of 45.68.
Okay, so now should we do it the other way? Backing out Globe, Miami, Superior, and pulling in Clarkdale, Verde Village,
Okay.
Jerome.
I guess the best way to do that would be to just leave this district as it is and just remove those areas. And I'm going to add those to a new district, so we'll be able to go back to that old line easier. There is this one, I think it's Roosevelt, that's split. We could probably remove that split if that's. Let's do that. So let me accept this. Okay. So now District 31, having done that, is now overpopulated by 25,935 people. Because you did take those 25,000 people, 24,000 people out of the mix for these last 4 districts, these last 4 districts now probably need to be populated somewhere just below the ideal value, which would help with District 5 if you wanted to keep that the way it was, but just something to consider. So growing this District 31 here to pick up the whole census places of Verde Village.
So that area there is about 50,000 people, is that right?
Not sure. That red selection is about 11,000 people. Would you rather take Clarkdale or Camp Verde?
Well, I was just trying to figure out how we got to be 25,000 people overpopulated when we took out Globe, Miami, and,
No,
You
25
meant
under.
oh, under.
25 under. We
Okay.
need to make up 25,000 more people. Or about 26 actually. 25,935. All these areas equal about 18,000 or about 19,000.
Okay.
We take some of the census blocks we'd have to take to obviously keep it contiguous, relatively compact. This area does not do well on the REAC test because of all the natural features. Okay, so that selection would add about 19,716 people. You'd probably still need to take a little more. Would you like to go get like Jerome right here and some of these other areas?
Jerome, yep.
And then I'll probably grab this too, just because that. Okay. Well, now it's saying District 31 is overpopulated. Let me. It took too many people. I'll do that and just see. And sometime in the near future might be a good idea to take a, after we look at this, to take a, let me just verify this and make sure nothing's getting screwed up. Okay, so, okay, we were looking, I was looking, this is my fault, at the wrong column. I apologize. So that population is about 38,000, so about 13,000 over. So we don't need to take that much. That being said, would you rather go with this area to the north or the Camp Verde area to the south to add?
I think we should grab Jerome,
Okay.
because that's part of that area.
All right, so we'll go that one. That is, sorry. I don't know if we're gonna be able to grab Jerome without going over. Again, we need to be a little under at this point. So right now we're 2,500 over. Jerome's 400. I can see what it would take to bring it in. Just 1 second. Not many people, 0. But. All right, so just doing that, that district is now overpopulated by 2,506 people.
Okay.
The
Is there anyone living in that area of Camp Verde? It's
let
being
me
split.
Let me check. That's a good idea. $45 people. The index 2 Dem percentage on this District 31 is, or the Republican percentage first is 55.31. Dem percentage is 44.7 or 69. So the last one was. Okay. So it's about a point less competitive.
So we'll take a break right now.
Okay.
It's 4:28 p.m. and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Hey, Jim. How are you?
Could I ask him to show just quickly the middle of Phoenix where I get a picture and I can go home?
Sure, we'll do that.
Is your way? That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, did he get my memo?
He did. He did.
Alrighty.
He got your email. It was, what's the name of it? Christos,
You
that's
probably
right.
wanted to head for bed, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. We're probably gonna go then.
You can't go Sunday. But anyway. How late are we working?
I don't know. So it's 30? I don't know. Last night we went till 7, I think.
That's what I was wondering about when you can take audience.
Yeah, you know what? We can do public comment when we come back. if
Can you
would
do that?
work.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank
I
you.
only have 2. Were there other
Virgi-
ones?
No, I don't know.
Are you Martha Joe?
No, I'm Virginia Simpson, and I was here before anybody. and
They
turned it
probably
in.
haven't given me all the slips.
Oh.
I'll check with.
But if you can do that, yeah.
If she's got one.
Is there a way by Monday night you could post where you left off? Into the online.
I hope so. I hope it would be great if we'd have a draft map.
I left
actually
a bunch
tomorrow,
of
but-
I left a bunch of speaker slips right
Oh, did
there.
you? Okay.
Got there.
Ah, there they are.
Okay, so we
That
do
in the
that,
hotel
yeah.
These are first. These came
You
in
know,
later.
when you travel, take your pillow with you.
Yep.
Thanks, we can do that at least.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Mother
you're
Joe?
second. I see your name.
I'm joking.
All right, that area is all in District 28.
28. Can I see that now?
The rest of District 28?
Yeah.
There it is. So it's Paradise Valley and Katie, I think yeah, this is 19. 19? Yeah.
I live in 13th North.
You would be in District 28.
which is that little area. Can you tell me what this line? Thomas or Indian?
Thomas.
Thomas, this is
44th Street.
You know what I do? I'm listening at home, but you can't. If they were posting every morning where they left off, then people can follow. All right. Hopefully they can post online Monday night, even if it's the latest. Here's why: you have no idea how many meetings on all the Democrats and so forth meet on a Tuesday night.
Oh, really? I did not know.
On the second Monday, a Tuesday.
That's the big,
So if you have at least by Monday,
trying.
yeah. Really, I can go now.
Oh. You gotta stop sitting in.
Yes, sir. Yes. So post by Monday night. Speculation. The truth always comes out.
Okay, we'll enter back into public session. Recess is over. The time is 4:51 p.m. And we thought we'd start with public comment and those folks who have submitted request to speak forms. We'll go through those now, and if there's still some at the end of our meeting too, we'll do some more public comment at that time. So our first speaker is Connie Woodbray, representing Self from Green Valley.
Hi, my name is Connie Woodbury, ConnieWoodbrey, a 12-year resident of Green Valley. Commissioner McNulty, last Wednesday on the 5th, you said that Green Valley is like Saddlebrook, and I say that is wrong. Voting habits show that minorities have an enormously better ability to elect in Green Valley than in Saddlebrook. Indeed, voting habits show that minorities even have a very much better ability to elect in Green Valley than in Sahuarita. If the Commission wants to maintain the District 2 of the Minority Option 2 map as a minority-majority district, it will move Green Valley into District 2. Voting habits also show there's no minority ability to elect in the communities of Quail Creek and Madeira Highlands just east of Old Nogales highways. Those communities should be moved into the District 1 where they share a community of interest with Corona de Tucson and Vail. Everything south of Sahuarita Road and east of the railroad line all the way south to Mount Hopkins Road should be moved into District 1. Then some of the South Cochise County area should be moved from District 2 into District 1, where it should be anyway. These changes will make the communities of interest better satisfied for all areas and will make significant improvements in the compactness and contiguous aspects of the districts 1 and 2. Tucson, Sahuarita, Green Valley, and the Santa Cruz Valley to the south share a very strong community of interest in the most intense illegal cross-border activities in the nation. And in the Santa Cruz Valley aquifer west of the Santa Rita Range. Green Valley was the epicenter of the recent raging controversy over border patrol checkpoints on I-19, a controversy involving many meetings of the Border Patrol and Congresswoman Gifford's Tubac Green Valley Sahuarita Community Work Group. The community of interest in the aquifer is very important to the communities right now and will become vitally important in the decade ahead. Already the aquifer is at risk. See the long article in yesterday's Arizona Daily Star. To the largest extent possible, the communities within the aquifer area warrant unified representation in the legislature. The strong community of interest that Green Valley has with Sahuarita and Tucson to the north and with the rest of the Santa Cruz Valley to the south should be respected. Green Valley is separated from the eastern parts of Arizona by mountain ranges and rivers, and it shares little or no community of interest with the vast area east of the Santa Rita Range, an area stretching all the way east to New Mexico. That large eastern area is largely rural and ranching communities, whereas Green Valley is strictly a residential community populated by retired and working education, veteran, military, and other professional people. Moreover, the overwhelming majority of Green Valley and Sahuarita residents share with Tucson a multitude of things important to daily life. These include employment and jobs, education, parks and recreation, arts, museum, theaters, hospitals and physicians, veteran and military services, and major highways and tourism. To underscore this community of interest, one can say that if Green Valley and Sahuarita were 60 to 70 miles distant from Tucson, their populations would be very small indeed. And the footnote is the proposed pipeline to aid Rosemont facing obstacles, Arizona Daily Star. And I have a letter here from a longtime resident of Green Valley who makes mostly the same points.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next speaker is Virginia Simpson, former town council from Paradise Valley area.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you for the work that you are doing, evidenced by your long hours on Sunday. You all are putting a lot of due diligence into this project. I would like to speak on behalf of my community because looking at the difference in the congressional district versus the legislative district, there are some glaring differences that seem to occur. Looking, of course, at communities of interest as one of the concerns and one of the things that we're always looking at, sometimes people aren't aware of some of the unique aspects of a small community like Paradise Valley. If you look at the two main arteries that run through Paradise Valley, Lincoln and Tatum, if you look at Lincoln is our east-west, and if you're looking at Lincoln as you go from east to west, you're going right down the corridor that is directly into the Biltmore area. Now, our tie-in to Phoenix is a little bit more than the fact that it's a contiguous community that shares not only social ties and is continuous, that is seamless, but we also, with Phoenix there, have some infrastructure ties. Our people that are on that west end of our town are also have Phoenix water, Phoenix sewer. It's a rather intimate tie into that Biltmore area. If you look at the Tatum, which is our north-south arterial, again, these people are going to be involved with Phoenix in the water and sewer also. So there's a lot closer tie than you may realize to that Phoenix community. As a matter of fact, when Phoenix was unable to supply and adequately serve their community north of Tatum with fire, the Paradise Valley Council, which I was then on, agreed when we built a new fire station in our town on Tatum that we have an agreement to serve their community for fire service. So we're very intimately tied. We share the actual costs of that fire station. It's not just a mutual aid agreement. It's that we have a contract where we actually pay half the cost and have a cost sharing on the fire station and the firemen. So that's a very intimate tie that the town has with Phoenix. So when we start looking at that north corridor, north of Tatum and into the Biltmore area, those ties are not just casual ties. So I think when we look at our congressional area, we're looking at people that we have concerns with that bind us together a lot more tightly than maybe people might realize. I think that's why logic demands that we look at these people as having a community of interest that goes beyond simply being neighbors. Also, when I looked at the map and realized that the line actually looked like it was on top of the mountain and severing Camelback Mountain, that was sort of affronting. I hope that we would not want to cut our beautiful mountain that we share, and that the logic of where we would draw any of our boundaries would be on a major arterial. So I hope that you will look at the south boundary as Camelback Mountain. Part of our own residents are not just on the mountain, but on some of our streets go slightly south of that. So I would hope that you would be looking at a major arterial rather than severing part of that mountain. But I'm hoping that you will look back at this and say there are some reasons that we work together. I also have served on the Phoenix board for the American Cancer Society, and certainly the social ties. I have been the chairman for the American Cancer Relay for Life in Paradise Valley for 10 years, and we look towards that for our corporate sponsorships and for some of our people in the Biltmore area. I would hate to see any severance of that community kind of a tie. And just wanted to bring a few things to your attention, and again, thank you for your time and all the effort that you all are putting in.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kevin Burke, City Manager from the City of Flagstaff.
I'm, of course, not Kevin Burke. We're both from Flagstaff. My name is Matthew Capalbi, and I'd like to read a statement on behalf of Kevin Burke, B-U-R-K-E, City Manager, City of Flagstaff. He had a tragedy just a few hours ago. The police chief of Flagstaff had a heart attack and passed away. Kevin had to depart immediately. So on his behalf, he asked me to read the following. The City of Flagstaff prefers Option 2, Version A of the legislative map. This most closely reflects the City of Flagstaff's value statement, which includes no regressivity for Native populations in District 7, a competitive district with communities of interest in District 6, and the inclusion of the greater Flagstaff area in one district. The mapping today includes Flagstaff with communities in Gila County. Flagstaff has little, if any, community of interest with this area in regards to transportation, economic, governance, or natural resource perspectives. We kindly ask that you consider exchanging population with more of the Verde Valley to include communities of Cottonwood, Clarkdale, and Camp Verde. Thank you, Kevin Burke, City Manager of Flagstaff. So, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jean Pizzato, representing SELF from Maricopa. Okay. Our next speaker is Shirley Dye, representing SELF from Northern Arizona.
Shirley Dye, D-Y-E. I live in Payson, and like the city manager of Flagstaff just said, we really do not have any community interest with Flagstaff or Sedona areas. They have a different kind of lifestyle than we do. We are more closely akin to Show Low, Heaver, Overguard, Pine Top, and the people in Greenlee County. We're more rural. We're more very much more interested, like he said, in our natural resources. You're talking now about chopping off from Roosevelt south, and Gila County would be in 3 different districts again. I mean, our San Carlos and White Mountain Apaches are part of our county, but we would be in with Flagstaff. We would be in with Pinal, it looks like. And so I'm feeling very much like the people up there in the White Mountains south of the Navajo tribal lands are just being, at Springerville, Eager, all of those people are just kind of being tossed aside. So I came here with a lot of really good hope because I had read something that had in Prop 106 that I was looking at that said that you all could decide to put in another district, and I was going, oh yay, we can split the huge big district in 2 and have 2 congressmen, and then split it into with 2 legislators and senators for 2 different districts. But I was told now that no, that I read was not true. So I got all excited about it, and then here's the bust. If there was any way that, I do not know why you've cut this area here and don't go all the way over. I don't understand why we can't have, you know, a gerrymandered Gila County that comes on over and then picks up these areas and goes into Greenlee. You know, and then a little gerrymandered thing. Remember the way the Hopis were pulled out of the Navajo Nation and put over here before. So I'm just real unhappy about the whole White Mountains that are akin to us and where we recreate, where we have our natural resources and all that. If the Apaches and the White Mountain and the San Carlos Apaches, which I understand you still have yet to hear from, what happens if they decide they don't want to go with the people up the north, you know, with the Navajos? I just think that there's got to be another way, that there's a possibility that it could work out so that we could be with our community of interest. That's it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Martha Jo Billy, representing SELF from Gilbert. Oh, okay. And Matthew Capalbi, did you have another?
Afternoon, Commissioners. Matthew Capalbi, C-A-P-A-L-B-Y. I reside in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm with a constituent group called Greater Arizona Success from rural Arizona. Again, just to reemphasize some previous points made at some of the earlier hearings, be they Republican or Democrat, there is general agreement that we would prefer or like to see 8 solely rural legislative districts, as well as the already well-defined 2 rural congressional districts. We do hope that you meet that objective. And in regards to Northern Arizona, we had a conference call with a number of different constituents from throughout Greater Arizona on Friday morning. And again, the one area where we could draw at least one competitive district out of the 5 in Northern Arizona was the Flagstaff region, the Verde Valley, and the White Mountain region. We were able to get that from a performance standpoint within 2%. We think that's, of course, ideally competitive, and we hope that does continue down that path, aside from some of the partisan interests that have been expressed previously. And also I heard from a number of people in Winslow, just for your edification, they would prefer to be in with Flag, understanding they have a significant tribal population within their community. But there is that hope that they would be added into the Flagstaff, Verde Valley, White Mountain legislative district for the sake of competitiveness. So we do appreciate your time, and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and appreciate all your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. And we extend our sympathies to the citizens of Flagstaff and obviously the family of the police chief.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that. I'll make sure those sentiments are conveyed.
Thank you. Next speaker is David Cantelmi, representing Fair Trust from Cave Creek.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Thank you again for the privilege and honor of being able to speak to you of matters that are on my mind. I have 3 main points I want to make to you today. The first one is, again, I echo Mr. Capalbi's point that you should have 2 wholly rural districts. Unfortunately, you do not. You have one, the Eastern District, that is rural. The Western District, when it comes into Maricopa County, that is not rural. There's no way anybody can say that it is. Maricopa County, particularly coming through the urban area, that is not rural. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Second point, the Voting Rights Act. As you all know, our Constitution has adopted by reference the Voting Rights Act, and of course it applies of its own force as a matter of federal law. There are 2 main sections that we deal with. First is Section 2, and the other is Section 5. Section 5 seems to have gotten the lion's share of interest by the Commission, but Section 2 cannot be forgotten, nor can it be ignored. It's just as much a part of the Voting Rights Act and now the state constitution as is Section 5. We know that Latinos make up 29.6% of Arizona's population. That's what the census told us. That comes to 9 districts when you have a total of 30. If you are not going to create 9 majority Latino districts, then it's incumbent upon this commission to give the analysis as to why not. And it may not be possible. It depends. I mean, the analysis must be done under the Jingles test to determine whether 9 are feasible. If they are feasible, if it can be done, it must be done. So my question to the Commission, has Dr. King actually done the analysis under Section 2 that would justify departure from 9 Latino districts? If he has done the analysis, it should be made available to the public. I have not seen it, nor have I seen any reference to it, nor have I seen anything posted. And my suspicion is that, in fact, Dr. King has not done the analysis under Section 2. I suppose he probably has under Section 5, but he should be doing it under Section 2 as well. There's no one in this room capable of doing a Section 2 analysis with the rigor that Dr. King could do. Third point, the Voting Rights Act, Section 5. Under Section 5, the point I would make is that you should not force any tribe, federally recognized tribe, into a district it does not want to go into. I heard it said that we have not heard from the 2 Apache tribes, and that may be the case in a formal sense, but we know that Chairman Lupe of the White Mountain Tribe delivered a letter to this commission when it met at Honda. That is a fact. You have the letter. It's nothing that's not part of the public record. And in that letter, Chairman Lupe stated plainly the White Mountain Tribe was quite satisfied where it is. Now, if that's been rescinded, it's not a matter of public record, and I'm led to believe he has not rescinded that letter. And so the question would be, if the commission is not going to honor the wishes of the White Mountain Tribe, the question would be, why not? On the other hand, if it is going to adhere to those wishes, I would commend that. Because the one thing that you learn from studying redistricting, and particularly in Arizona, and that is, first, you should not ever split a tribe, and I commend this commission. It never has done that. But second, the wishes of the individual tribes should be observed to the extent it's possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Steve Muratore, publisher, Arizona Eagle-Terrian.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Steve Muratore, M-U-R-A-T-O-R-E. I publish the Arizona Eagle-Terrian. I come before you today because I've been trying to get some information from Tony Sissons. You know, I'm interested in competitive districts, and I know he knows more about it than I do. So, because before you were even constituted as the commission, he was writing about the situation and suggesting that there were quite a few competitive districts possible. I asked him for some background to those claims, and here's a little bit of what he told me. He believes right now that with 10 voting rights districts, it's still possible to draw up to 12 legitimate competitive legislative districts. He bases this assertion on the full analysis of the half-truth that the first commission promoted and that current opponents of competition still cling to, and I've heard it from reporters even recently. They contend that creating voting rights districts uses up so many Democrats that there are not many left over to make more than 3 or 4 competitive districts. It's believable until you look at where the concentrations of the Republicans live. He provided me with some figures, some maps, and I will provide that to you. One of which is of Maricopa County, where he drew some hypothetical districts, and he says he labels each of the districts A through G as opposed to corresponding numbers. And within each of these, he came up with a 1% deviation from the ideal legislative district size to illustrate a broad sweep of Maricopa County that is safely Republican and cannot be made competitive because most of the surrounding precincts also have Republican majorities. These districts counterbalance the heavily Democratic voting rights districts, leaving 14 to 16 districts worth of Arizona outside of Maricopa County with almost equal Democratic and Republican registrations in which territory at least 12 competitive districts can be drawn. So I wanted to give this to you, and I can provide also the files because my printer was running out of ink.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. And I think that concludes public comment, unless I missed anyone's opportunity here. Okay. Thank you all for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. Our next item on the agenda is the one we were working on, which is agenda item 2. Back to the salt mines.
Okay. So I think where we left off was we were trying to decide how to best draw the district that includes Coconino and Navajo counties, along with either all or portions of Gila County, and also parts of Yavapai County. So that's where we were. Is there anything that?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think we heard the comments from Flagstaff that their preference would be to include the Verde Valley and Sedona in District 6 and to exclude the Globe Miami Superior area. Gila County is not part of the Northern Arizona County of Government organization of governments. They don't work with them on a regular basis. And as I think about it, as Phoenix continues to grow on the east side and the Resolution mine comes online, there's got to be much more alignment of those areas with East Phoenix than with Flagstaff. So I think it makes sense to proceed along the lines that Mr. Freeman was suggesting, to work with our 15,000 person population deficit in East Phoenix and to build in the Globe Miami Superior area into East Phoenix and create District 6, at least for draft purposes, to include the areas that we had designated in Verde Valley. So, Mr. Desmond, do we still have that drawn?
We do. What we have is district. Well, it's not really district. We called it 32. It's that portion of South Gila County that I guess would then go into District 8. And then you can.
And then 31 is?
31 is the area of Coconino, Navajo, and Yavapai County that we looked at.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that we call that 6.
Okay.
And we then work on pulling 32 into 16 and surrounding areas.
Okay.
The other comment I would make is that when we looked at the competitiveness analysis just before we went on break, even there appeared to be a point difference. As Phoenix grows, continues to grow into that superior area and Resolution comes online, that district could very quickly grow out of that point of competitiveness. So that's the kind of the trade-off there. Okay, this new district, District 6, has a population of 214,748. Okay, did you want to go right down to this portion of 32, or did you want to try to deal with the last two districts?
Pick your poison.
I think Mr. Freeman has been studying this area so well, it's all fresh in his.
Well, I don't know
his
if I
head.
have an answer. I have been trying to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and put 32 into 8?
Okay.
I think so too. The last thing we do should be that. We have a portion of 31. A remnant, I missed it before, so I'll see what that does to our total population in 31. It's only 744 people. The district 8. So now district. All right. So now District 8 is overpopulated by 28,776 people. Immediately next to it is District 16, which is right next to District 25. District 16 is 9,171 people underpopulated. District 25 is 8,427 people underpopulated. Also, District 11 is underpopulated by 2,287 people. If you'll briefly allow, I ran the prison report quickly. District 11 has a prison population of 7,801 people. District 8 has a prison population of 11,390 people. So, so you have that information going forward.
Could you give me two figures, Willie? I'm sorry. District 16 is under by 16,000.
No, District 16 is under by 9,171.
9,171. And then the district that's under by 8,427.
That is District 25.
25, okay.
And those are the two Mesa districts.
And it seems the only place where there's population to get back is the Santan Valley, which probably gets split. And that population is then distributed to 12, 16, and 25. It means reconfiguring them in some logical way to spread out that population. Then all of those districts will probably be close to balance or slightly above, slightly below.
Okay, and I just had to fix this change. There's a very large census tract there, so I just clicked the census tract. It took part of Gold Canyon. So you think District 16 should drop down into Santan? Or District 12 should grow?
Well, we got to give up 28,000.
Yeah.
And this deficit on 16 is how many?
16 is under by 9,100, 9,200 roughly. And 25 is under by 8,400. District 12 is slightly overpopulated. It's 3,600 over. And I think the reason for that is that it was just, I think you guys made every effort not to split Gilbert a second time. One thing you might want to address right away is there is that small portion of Queen Creek that's split off in District 12. That would take a couple hundred from 8, but.
And then 25 is missing
8,400.
So we got to get population into 16 and 25, and it has to. Might have to go through 12 a little bit.
It couldn't. Yeah, we have to go through 12.
I guess 16 could, trying to minimize the splits to Santan as well, so it's only, we're going to split it, just do it once.
Okay. Well, I guess what makes the most sense to me would be just have 16 come down. That allows you to not have a split in Gilbert. In District 12, if you look, I think that northern border is all Gilbert. Let me check this. Yeah. So if you were to go through 12, 25, and 16 would have to.
I guess what you're suggesting is if we did it that way, we wouldn't have to mess with 12.
Yeah, I would even say that 12 could maybe go down. There's a small portion of Queen Creek here. I don't know if there's many people here.
I don't think
it is
there's too
across
many.
the county line, but it's there.
But 12 is already slightly overpopulated.
Yeah. So.
By 1.69%. Maybe just see what the population is there, Queen Creek.
All right, I'm going to do it with block groups here and census place here. So that's about 3,600 people, 3,700 people, which would take 12 to almost 7,200 people overpopulated. So that's tough. It's possible, you know, if we look at it, we might be able to reduce that slightly by not taking all of that area. So we could do something like this, going at the block level, and then that would be only 15. There's really not many people that live in this area. If you just start with that, you see it's 443 people in that portion of Queen Creek that is in Pinal County.
What's the population in just this unincorporated cutout?
3,200 people. I mean, to do it with the smallest impact on 12's population, you could do something like this. This would then be contiguous.
Yeah, it's almost, we're getting
but
form over substance here. This unincorporated area is probably more like Queen Creek than this. I'm sorry, I don't know the area better, but
yeah. No, and again, this isn't the real issue right now. So this is just another thing to look at. So I guess getting back to it, I can give you, maybe it'd be helpful if we looked at different ways of approaching Santan, both from the area of 12 and from the north. So one way would be, and I don't know, I mean, that right there is about 20,000 people, roughly, what it would take to bring 16 and 25 up and have a little extra in each. But I don't know if it's better to split Santan.
well, the first way you suggested was perhaps the way that minimizes the number of splits. We could just see how it looked, and which was to bring this border of 16 down and grab. So it's going to have to grab more than 28,000. Well, it's going to grab 28,000, and then we're going to shift the line between 25 and 16.
And again, District 8, you can leave it a little overpopulated, so it doesn't need to grab all 28. You know, if
Okay.
you leave like 5,000, it could take 23 or something. This selection right here takes 22,379. If we wanted to kind of minimize, I mean, you could also do that same selection essentially, like this. That would take 26,000 and add it into District 16. And if you didn't want to take as much, I think there was some areas here that might make sense to grab at the census block level. I'm not sure how populated all these are, but so that's about 26,300. More than enough for 16 and 25.
Well, you got this little arm here that's hanging out.
Yeah, let's
Again,
look
I
at.
wish I knew. It's been a long time since I've driven down that highway, and I'm sure it's changed a lot since I.
Should we look at some of the major roads and streets? See if that's helpful at all. I don't know. That's. So this would be everything north of Combs Road, essentially. That's 33,000 people, so that's a little too many, but just to give you an indication of more of a north-south type of split, I guess. The other thing is, I mean, I haven't looked, I'm not sure what the population of like Queen Valley is or any of those areas, if that makes more sense to try to bring that in.
There's like 1,000 people there, if that, and it doesn't, from looking on Google Earth, it doesn't even look like it's really on the 60 here. It looks like it's up in the hills a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it'd be worth it. If there's a good way to configure that split.
All right, why don't we just pull down and then we can play with other options. So I guess do this right here. Okay, so that moves 1,500 people. I'd say, just kind of thinking about it, oh, that just went to, sorry. This needs to go to 16. Not 12. You'd probably want to, so you've got 28,000, you need to make up like 17, 18,000. You'd probably want to split that all three ways maybe. So it'd be 17,500 plus 6,000 is about 23,500, 23,500. That gives you a deviation of roughly 3,500 in each one of those three districts above to kind of minimize that.
16, 25, and 8.
Yeah. So right now, 16 needs to take about another 10 or 20,000 people, 22,000, something like that, from Santan. So just going at the census block group level and trying to work our way kind of north-south, I think makes the most sense. That's 32, so that's too many. Just this area. That's 58. Do you want to just keep taking these chunk by chunk? Or?
Yeah, just work across.
Okay, that's 16. Okay, that's 24. Let's see what that would do, if that's all right.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, District 8 is overpopulated by 3,263. District 16 is overpopulated by 16,504. District 25 is underpopulated by 8,427. If it took that 8,427 plus an additional, say, 3,000, that's roughly 11,500, which would leave 16 with about 5,000 extra. So it could split that difference down to maybe 4,250, something like that. I'm looking, I think that's about a deviation of about 2%. So that's probably not, that's much better than the 4.5 that we started at. Is that, so then do you want to look then at the,
So that's our goal then.
that's our goal. So right now and now we're done with 8, kind of. You know, if this line in Santan works with everybody. So speak now or we're moving up. All right, so now the question becomes, where does the split between 16 and 25 come? Is it better to follow a more north-south, or would you want to try to keep, you know, just see what the 202 has there, if you want to look at some of the roads? However you want to try to pull District 25 in, how to grab for District 25.
Sorry, what's the population we're shifting? Again,
All right, so
the number.
So 25 needs to make up, I would say, about 11,500.
Okay.
Maybe 12,000. That would put it about 3,500 over, and make 16 about 4,500 over. So 12 to 13,000 people essentially. I guess also what might be helpful to think about is let me change the color of Apache Junction, so we can just make this solely a Mesa district, I think is what we looked at before, and I think that makes sense. So you don't go into Pinal County. Okay, so I guess the two ways for this district to grow would be for it to take from the north down, or to continue from the west east. And it might be helpful to look at how District 26 or 16 looks, so you can understand how those changes would be. If it's all right, I'll show you just some quick selections to give you an understanding of what that might do. So if 25 took from 16. And I guess what I'm saying is you could go like this, and I don't know the population here. That's about 23, so that's way too many. Or you could come like this direction and grow it that way. Both of those are too many. So. It might make sense just to start with that. So then you have a completely straight line.
Okay, that's 2,700 people.
That's 2,700, yeah. So you know about 10,000 more.
So I wonder if he followed the freeway, four-ways, how far would you have to go? Or have to do it at the block level?
Yeah, let me take a look. Just some of the big chunks in there. Well, that's already too many people. It's not even.
Oh, yeah.
What you could do is.
Yeah, that might be a canal, too, that feature there.
Looks like it would be. It says LN 5600, LN 2600. I mean, the other thing you could do is, if you were interested in following the, well, never mind. I was going to say if you wanted to pick up this population here, around the 202, you could lose some up here, but that I don't think that would work out. Just looking at the population of those census block groups.
You didn't take this population over here?
Oh no, I was just
That seems like a good starting point.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, so now District 24, I'm sorry, District 25 is underpopulated by 5,700. Probably needs to grab roughly 1,000 or 10,000 people though. I can show you some different ways that would look. Probably don't want that. That's 10,000. That might be a few too many. You probably want to be slightly shy on the lower side. You could also build up something like that. That gives you about 9,700. That'd be about right.
Is that unincorporated area fully, is that all built out in there?
So this selection is 2,400 people.
If you just took what's northwest of the unincorporated area.
So this area right in here. If you could see the mouse. Let me, So as a start, that's 7,900 people. And then if you go and grab at the block level, it's a very large block. Something like that, that's about 83. If you just wanted to keep this, it looks like a neighborhood. That's about 9,000 people. That would give you a deviation in District 25 of 3,200 people, and a deviation in District 16 of 4,800 people. So 1.53% and 2.26%. And just to give you an indication of what the districts would look like. So District 25 and 26 would be shaped kind of like that.
Is there, if instead of coming over the top of that unincorporated area, can you leave that, try what happens if you just leave that unincorporated area in 16 and kind of hug the edge of it and then come down along the 202?
So you mean just come right down like on the border right here?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's doable. That's like 99,000 people.
And then that.
This does look like it's built out, though. There's lots of little tracks in there. There's
It is?
1,400 people in this
Okay.
area
All right.
right there. I don't know if this got squared off. How much would that be?
Let me show you. 96. So they both would have a deviation under 2%, if you did that.
2%?
Under 2%.
Under 2%.
Under 2%. District 25 would be 3,935, a deviation of 1.85%. District 16 would be 4,142, a deviation of 1.94%. Is that good, or is there another place you guys want to look?
Okay.
All right. Okay, we are so close.
I think it should be easy.
So what you have left
We've got 2 left, right?
is
Just split.
Yuma, Maricopa, and Yavapai counties. And I can tell you quickly what's in Yavapai County, what's in Yuma, and what's in Maricopa, if that's helpful. In Yavapai. Sorry, I just want to look at one thing. We might want to clean up this line right here in a minute for District 6. All right, so Yuma has, or Yavapai, in District 14 has a population of 111,883. In the unassigned area, it is 47,390. So, 140 or 158,000, give or take, in Yavapai.
And if you just work south in Maricopa County, you
Okay, let's do
split
that.
the.
Okay. It's a placeholder. This will be District 31. Just really quickly, if it's okay, I'm just gonna grab this. Well, I'll see how many people are here. Just to improve the compactness. Okay, that moves 33 people. Is that okay if I go ahead and do that, just to have a cleaner line?
Yes, for the sake of compactness.
We consider all 6 criteria. So. Okay, great. And that's just the type of thing that would bug me. That's my mark on this map, is that little. Okay. So. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Just take a second. Okay, so District 31 needs to make up 53,840 people. I think it would also be good right now to figure out how much district. So we have District 14, District 13, District 31 plus the unassigned. I just want to add those 4 numbers up really quickly so we can know what the deviation needs to be. So in District 31 we've got 159,227. District unassigned we've got 179,967. In District 14 you have 10,252. In District 13 you have 67,671. Grand total of 117,117. Meaning each district needs to be about 4,500 people shy. So I think that's within our range, and we can tweak those at the end. But so we should go at this point to it gets to about 209,000 people. So, Yavapai into Maricopa. Does it make sense to start in more rural and work our way in? Again, none of this line I don't think
Is that line a product of our grid?
That is a product of our grid. So this area of 14, that is this northern portion, is, again, I think 10,000 people. So to take that, you'd still need to make up about 39,000 people.
That's north of the interstate?
Let me check. I'm just going to start with this because it does need to come south. Really, the two districts, there's nowhere else to go. Stop me if I'm making a huge mistake. All right, looking at what's north of the interstate. Let's see what the That's 76,000 right there. We're not all the way done. So, too many people.
Remind me what we need.
We need about 39,000 people. Should we start with just these areas, of Buckeye, and then we can see if we need to go into Goodyear at all, Litchfield Park, and some of those areas? So what I'm saying is, if you just took this, and Buckeye north of the interstate, that gives you about 16,000. So then you have the option of going down a little bit further or going into some of these areas.
Well, we can't because this little.
Oh, that's correct.
Sliver there.
District 4 is a hard line right there. One thing you could do is start with the rest of Surprise. So as to make sure that stays in only one split. And then build your way kind of west and linking these and see what that gets you. If you took all of...
What's that population?
Just 1 second. Sorry, just 1 second. Too many, 90,000. Maybe it's easier at this point to build District 13 up. You can see where they're both closing in on the same area there. That's the last thing. So District 13, again, is all up here with the northern portion of Yuma. District 31 is right here. And then all we're talking about right now is this right here.
Let's do it.
So shall we? I don't know. I mean, we could use 19 as the dividing line and have them both come in a little bit under and over 19.
The 10, yeah, just
Or 10,
take,
I'm
take
sorry.
the sliver under 10 and get that portion of Goodyear, maybe get the rest of Goodyear in Citrus Park.
Okay. Okay, starting with that. All right, now District 13 needs to make up 112,000, going back out to this district. Okay. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Let's go to 31. Okay, so now District 31 needs to make up 30,000 more people. And whatever's left, essentially, is what will go to District 13. It makes sense to take this little portion here, next to 4. I don't think there's any chance that 31 goes down and grabs that, so.
Isn't that the line for 4 right there? Doesn't it take Goodyear?
No, that looks like the line is the the
Oh,
highway.
it's the highway. Okay, then yes.
Okay. Should we see what's in like Citrus Park or something like that, so that potentially that could be?
Sounds good.
That adds 4,000. District 31. 31 still needs to make up another 21 or so. If we look at maybe some of the unincorporated areas around there to see what that would take. And again, you have to leave. That won't work.
Well, to get there, don't we have to take
You have to go.
northern
Yeah, you have
Goodyear?
to leave. So, I don't know. It's either that or it takes. The other option, obviously, is to take part of 22 and then have 22 go further into Surprise. That keeps Surprise split one time. I don't know if there's enough population up here to get anywhere near it. But that seems to be the other choice.
That's an idea.
I'll tell you what that would do if you grabbed from District 22. Right, something like this gets you about 7,800 people. That District 22 would then have to make up in Surprise.
Yeah, in that chunk, there is 75,000 people. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, but if we're trying to find a way that both 13 and 31 don't have to go into surprise, this is one. Gets you a little closer to that. Because there's obviously too much for 13 to take in all by itself. So if you did that, and you also did this, I think you get to about 12,000. Yeah, we have to clean that up so it wouldn't go that far over.
Yeah, it just looks like that part of surprise is going to get sliced and diced.
Yeah.
Just too many people. Unless we can figure out another way.
Was there any other portions of this part of Maricopa that would make sense to go with Yavapai County? I mean, you're gonna have to create a split probably somewhere else, but you could, you can always move 22 down in surprise to take back anything that 22 loses. So I guess the question is it better to split surprise? Is it better to split Goodyear? I mean, not better, it's never good, but does it make more sense? Is there a logical place in one of those cities to do it?
Right. I mean, surprise is already split right now.
Surprise is already split once.
Yeah. Whether it be 3 legislative districts rather than 2.
Yeah. Goodyear's also already in 2 though, so as it is, it comes down to one of those 2, or else maybe another portion of Peoria or something. But
What do you have highlighted there?
that's surprise.
That's incorporated surprise.
That's incorporated surprise. So
What's in the west arm of it? What's the population?
We just lost the TriCaster, so they can't see at home. Do you want me to restart, or let me see if I can try exiting and opening it back up, if that makes it better. I think I'm going to have to restart my computer to get that back on. I'll answer your question quickly, or you guys can tell me that if you think you're close. So this portion of Surprise is 3,600 people. Do you want me to restart, or?
Don't forget to save it.
Why don't I just copy out a plan really quick just to make sure. If anyone was wondering, the Packers are losing.
because the people in Surprise are on the edge of their seats.
Okay, and we're back.
Have we explored geographic boundaries or any like school district type lines that could allow us to sensibly split anything over there?
No, I know. I think 22 is a little overpopulated. It could give up. It could shed. I think about 5,000. I want to say.
Yep.
I mean, if we, I don't think it solves any problem though. We could, if we pulled this back to this line, which I forget, if that's the canal or what that is there. It still means split and Surprise 3 ways unless we can find where to put 75,000 people.
Well, where could we split it to get the population? Let's try it that way.
Okay. So it needs to make up roughly 2,700 people, or 27,000 people. That's too many. That's about 14,000 if you then take Citrus Park. You're up to almost 19,000. It makes sense to do it kind of on a east-west divide. That gets you to about 26. If you cleaned up that line, I bet you could get a little better.
Where are you saying this is going into?
So go into 31. So it does have 3 splits in Surprise. District 31 would be underpopulated by 4,300 people, or about 2.04%. And I think everything left would go into District number 13.
Can you pull back just a little bit? So 13 comes in and slips in there.
Yeah. It does only give, one split to Goodyear. Buckeyes split 3 times. But
Buckeye's about 1,000 square miles.
yeah, it's hard not to.
And Surprises, it must be, it's a huge area. It's spread all over the place.
seems like we would do it the other way around, and it grabs the top of Goodyear and comes up, hugs this boundary, and grabs the piece of Surprise right there. But maybe it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It doesn't matter. But or maybe it's just because you haven't accepted the change. It's looking funny to me right now. But
I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, there's look. There is still some unassigned population. 6,800 people. Let me just take a quick look and show you where that is. Well, here, I'll do this. One area right here needs to go to district. It looks like 28. So that would go to district 28. It's 0 people. There's this area, which looks like it probably belongs to 27 if I had to guess. Again, 0 people. Okay. So there's the map. Looking specifically at District 13 and 31, That's how it shaped out right now. I mean, one thing you could do is, you know, this is going out to the town right here. You could chop off that arm and have it come in to Surprise a little more, or something else to improve that compactness. Might make it look a little cleaner, but
Well, it might allow it to withdraw a little bit from Surprise, right? And actually 22 might be able to shed that without
yeah.
a problem.
Do you want to look at doing that? Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't. I just changed my mind.
Okay, it's fine too.
It can be, for tonight, it'll be the Cape Cod district. We can.
The what?
The Cape Cod district.
Let me show you. We did that. Now District 31 is, oh, District 31 is too big. It's 10,000 people too big. District 22 is only 2,900 people too small. So within the margin, 1.4%. And it might allow, at least right here, to remove 10,000 people from Surprise. Or it could remove Citrus Park, if that made more sense to you with 13. Or it could make this line go up a little bit more to kind of make this link a little stronger. Any thoughts? Should I undo that change, or do you want to quickly try to have 13?
I had a question. Is Luke Air Force Base in 13, or where did Luke end up?
I believe it is in 29.
Are you sure? I think it might be in 13.
Not sure. Turn on the streets, it's kind of easier to see it sometimes, or the blocks. It might be in, maybe it is in 13. Right.
Yeah, District 30 is light. Was District 30 one of our minority majority districts?
No.
It's light, 5,000. Oh wait, it's not a border. Sorry, strike that.
No problem. We're just trying to see the loop. Well, you know, you could split the difference between those two, because right now, District 13 is short 4,700. District 31 is over 10,000. You know, they could both be about 5,000, which would put them in the 2.25 range. The question is, would Citrus Park make more sense in District 13 or District 31, which is soon to become 14? You could do that, or you could minimize the split. You could do something like this. That would make this arm come across a little better. You still have portions of Buckeye in both. There's nothing you can do about that. Or else you could remove some of these people in Surprise, like that.
Why don't you just make it look better and then see if we like it?
You got it. You should have said that the first day. I personally like something like this, I think. Because it makes this part going in seem a little less severe. But I'm also not crazy about it. It was a try. How about that? Just as it is. District 13 is now overpopulated by 2,500 people, 1.18%. District 31 is overpopulated by 3,400 people, 1.6%. District 22 is underpopulated by 2,900 people, or 1.4%. Looking at the map, with just the shades, I think the area that of 22 that doesn't spike up looks better. Makes a little bit more sense, but no unassigned areas. Some non-contiguous areas. Let's look at those really quick. Okay. This one is, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a glitch in Maptitude from the census Tigerline files. It claims that this area has 0 area, and it is non-contiguous anytime you use, I think it's Yavapai County line as a border. So we'll leave that. 0 population there. Did you say turn on point contiguity? I just process it. Yeah, that will make it allowed. Do you guys want to try again? Just start from scratch. Go back to. Any questions? Is there anything you want to adjust about any of these districts? Just kind of looking at it. Looks like our greatest deviations are probably 23. It is 6,300 people underpopulated, 2.99%. Which is good. Everything is under 3%. In this map right now, most overpopulated district is District 20, with 5,583 people. Too many, or ideal, very ideal size, 2.62%.
Can you do all the metrics on it so we can go over them tomorrow?
Yes, I can.
You want to redo a few districts? Shall we call it a night?
I'm beat. Maybe Jose will start redrawing the districts now.
You're doing a great job.
I think the map is quite beautiful, frankly,
I do too.
because it's an exemplary display of bipartisanship. And as an independent, that's what I value. And I am super impressed with Commissioners McNulty and Freeman for being able to come together with their 2 tracks and figure out a way to at least put placeholder districts into a map that, you know, we can work from. And I just think it was pretty remarkable. So do we get, you'll run analysis on these 30 districts
Yeah.
for
I
us,
mean,
since just,
I know you guys are exhausted. If you want to wait around maybe 10, 15 minutes, I could.
Sure.
I don't know how much paper and ink I have left, but I'll print what I can for you.
Okay.
And then you can take those home. But I don't think we have to do that in session if you if you wanted to. Take a
You
break.
can load them for us.
I can load them also, yeah.
Were you thinking we would adjourn and you would do this after we adjourn? Is that what you're
If you want to
thinking?
adjourn, if you want to take a break, whatever you guys
Okay.
want to do. I'll just start. I'm going to get started right now.
Okay, we can adjourn. Was there anything, no, shaking her head, no. What time is our meeting start tomorrow in Tucson? 9:30. And that's at the 4 Point Sheridan on Speedway at Campbell. Okay. So nothing on the executive director's report. We discussed future meetings and future agenda items, which are the same tomorrow. Nothing on the Attorney General inquiry. And we did our public comment. Thank you for all coming and giving your input and participating in the process. And that leaves adjournment. So the time is 6:44 p.m. and this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.